What's going on, guys? This is Greg Frawley from the Wise Guys MMA page, and I'm here with yet another fighter breakdown. Yes, you guessed it, it's the Notorious Conor McGregor. He was much requested, many inboxes on my Facebook, so I thought, hey, why not? He's definitely a name that's in the headlines at the moment. But putting all that aside, he's a fantastic and outstanding fighter. So in jumping straight into the first part, his first strength is his fight IQ, his adaptation, and his ability to adjust to almost everything, which is that's the best tool that you can have as a martial artist, and a mixed martial artist especially. As you can see, he laid waste in his UFC debut to Marcus Brimage, but the number one thing in this fight was the adaptation with his uppercuts. He noticed that every punch he was throwing at Marcus was sailing over his head, so he adjusted to an uppercut, and 12 punches later, you know exactly what happened. I think it lasted maybe 50 seconds. It took him 30 seconds to adjust to him, and it was over. It was a wash. It was over pretty quickly, and he moved on to the next fighter, and I really don't even remember seeing Marcus Brimage after this. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he just kind of got washed, and we don't remember anything about him. His second fighter that he fought was Max Holloway later that year. I think it was in August of that year. And we all know how good Max Holloway is, but he was 21 at the time. If you can notice in this fight, he's changing the game plan. Rather than try to stand there in front of him and counter, and Max is 5'11", he changed it to volume striking, which Conor's never been a volume striker. He's not. He's a counter fighter. But he realized if he tries to counter with Max, he's going to get embarrassed, or he's just going to get struck from across the ring. You can't stand in front of somebody like Max Holloway and expect to try to counter them, because they can just knock you backwards with their long arms and long legs, and then you're back to square one. Sometimes I hear people say, oh, well, Conor hasn't fought this guy. He hasn't fought anybody. Who did he really fight? This is probably the number one person that pops into my mind. Yes, Max was young, but he was a killer. Even when he was 21, he was a killer. He wasn't fully developed. Now he is developed, and look what happened. But yeah, if you definitely want to notice certain things about the fight, he put the pressure on Max the entire time. Normally, it looked like McGregor was in fast forward mode or something, because instead of the usual pivot and step back and step in and just slide out of the way, he couldn't do that. But his fight IQ is what took over this match. And rather than, as you see the takedown there, and rather than risk losing trying to do the same thing, he changed it up. Obviously, he tore his knee ligament late in that fight. I think it was maybe 3 minutes left is when he tore his knee. And he got Max down to the ground and pretty much ended the fight from there with a pretty handy single leg takedown to just wash it and get it over with. He survived the fight, obviously, and it was a decision win for him, but it was definitely a good performance on his part, even on one leg. Strength 2 was counterpunching, posting, dead spacing, and setting the table. I'll explain all that as we go along. Conor's last performance was against Eddie Alvarez at the end of 2016. And in this fight, he showed everything, but mainly the counterpunching was just phenomenal. He really showed his whole arsenal, but the counterpunching, it looked like Eddie was fighting somebody from another planet. I've never seen anything like it. And I'm not saying that because I'm a fan of Conor. I've really never seen anything like that where somebody couldn't get a bead on someone and they just got clowned the entire time. I mean, it was kicks, it was punches, it was real punches, it was counter punches, and it was setting the table. Setting the table, what I mean by setting the table is, in the first round, Conor threw real punches, as you see right here. He threw real punches to make Eddie feel like every single thing that was coming was going to be real. It wasn't. He just opened the door for that, and that's how you can kind of shut off a wrestler. That was just his game plan in this fight, but it worked against a pretty decent wrestler. Dead spacing, much like he did Jose Aldo, he did to Eddie, where he draws you in, reaches his hand out, makes him feel as if he's coming. He's not. He leaves space for you to step into. He steps out of that space, and then he hits you. The posting or takedown defense, as you can see by Conor's right hand, keeps certain wrestlers, I don't think it would work against somebody like Khabib, but he keeps pretty decent wrestlers at bay by holding them and posting on that arm to where they cannot take you down because you're almost stiff-arming them like a football move. The delayed counter is different. The reason why I say it's different is because rather than try to interrupt your opponent, you try to wait or weave or step out of the way, make them miss like Anderson Silva is popular for, and then destroy them for missing so badly, which he did. As you saw the posting again right after that, this is kind of where Eddie got kind of stuck. He couldn't strike with him. He couldn't get him down. And then that just made him stand in front of him, and he walked right into an overextension and right into a counter punch and the 4-hit combo that it was it's kind of breathtaking to see somebody get hit that hard, that clean. But the payoff from the setting the table was right here. The 1, 2, 3, and 4. As you can see from another angle, Conor didn't even move back that much. Like against Jose, he moved completely out of the way. Eddie, it was like he had disdain on his face for him even throwing punches like that. Kind of reminds me of Anderson, the way he would kind of look at people. But check, please. That's what happened to him.
I hype myself up big, yeah? I'm looking to get paid here. These custom-made suits aren't cheap. This solid gold pocket watch, 3 people died making this watch, you know what I mean?
Here you go, brother. Toast down. That's a Middleton Rare, yeah? That's a 20-gram bottle of whiskey. They all think it's fun and games. I'm not playing here. The only thing that stopped me smacking Jose and stiffening him up in the crowd was the money. Tell Jose I'm coming.
I own this town. I own Rio de Janeiro. I'm sitting up here with my feet on the desk. What's anyone up there gonna do about it? If this was a different time, I would invade his favela on horseback and kill anyone that was not fit to walk. I look forward to looking him dead in the eye. The eyes never lie. The eyes never lie.
If a man is scared for his life, we cannot force him to step inside and face me. You know, I feel he is afraid. The doctors have cleared him to fight. It's a bruise, but he has still pulled out. So rightfully so, the belt should be taken. It looks like Jose's out. It's going to be Mendes. I opened one eye. I said they are all the same. I closed my eyes, I went back to sleep. His facial structure will be rearranged after the fight. I knew when I hit him I would hurt him. I had a hell of a lot more wrong with me than a bruised rib, and I still showed up.
The first thing I said to him was, wow, I didn't think I'd see you again. I was actually happy to see him. I gave him a little cuddle. I told him everything's going to be A-okay. He doesn't want to be here. He's not going to be there December 12th like he was not there July 11th. I'm worried about you. I love you. I love you like my
Otario, Otario! Otario, Otario!
You know what that means? Pussy.
I can make you rich. I change your bum life. You fight me, it's a celebration. When you trying to fight me, it's a celebration. You ring back home, you ring your wife. Baby, we done it. We're rich, baby. Conor McGregor made us rich. Break out the red panties. We're rich, baby. So don't say you would not take that fight, because you would take that fight like everyone else up here would take the fight against me if it was offered, regardless of belts or any of that shit. I'm the money fight in the male shit at all weight divisions, so fuck everybody else up here.
Kind of funny to see how all that tilting came to light. All the talking, the 6 months, the 7 months, after the first pullout of the fight, and just to hear all that talk for all that long, you could understand how Jose got frustrated and wound up a punch like that and got dead spaced, as I described before, and got blasted with the left hand. One of the hardest punches that I've ever seen, a single shot. It was really a flash knockout, but to see a title reign come to an end, it was kind of sad, but it was kind of funny at the same time, because I've never seen anything like it. And to see him set that up with all the talking, it wasn't just in the ring. It was outside of the ring. It's where Jose got baited. He got him angry. He got him frustrated. He got him to overextend the way he does so many times. And he got him to walk right into the punch. And 13 seconds later, it was all over with. One of the most memorable nights in UFC that I can ever remember. And getting into the weaknesses section of what really Conor falls short on. Of course, I said he has above average takedown defense, but in the Chad Mendes fight, not so much. And then to parcel that, he doesn't have Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu like that. Maybe he does. We've just never seen it. And every time we do see it, his stamina is gone because he wants to remain standing. He did a decent job in this fight of elbowing to get out of certain positions, but as far as tying Chad up, it just wouldn't have worked. And had Chad not made a simple mistake right here of underestimating his gas tank, or overestimating, excuse me, he really stood himself back up. If you knew you didn't have cardio, you probably should have stayed down there. It's easy for me to say I'm not in the ring, but just talking in general, it just didn't make sense for Chad to even try to stand up or try to jump for something like that. He gambled and he lost badly, and he paid for it badly. And moving on to his last weakness, he has consistent stamina issues versus Floyd, against Nate both times, against a few other fighters. He just flat out runs out of gas. I think that all stems from when he fought Max Holloway and tore his knee. I don't think he can run like that. I really don't. Because you would think as a professional fighter, and that's all you do is train, you would be able to run a little bit more than he does, or build your wind up. So what's next? We all want to see him back in the ring. You know, antics aside, with all that happened with Khabib, everybody wants to see him back in the ring. You know, it's sad to not see one of the best fighters fight. However, if a man does make $100 million, it's kind of hard to incentivize that person back into the ring. But we all want to see him versus Khabib. It makes too much sense, and it makes too much money. And like Floyd said, if it makes money, it makes sense. Again, he's one of the best fighters in the world, and I appreciate you guys tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, and bless.